Welcome to the REALL Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by the
Systems Doctors,
Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the REAL Resilient framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. REAL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out.
the Systems Doctors
Alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. The implementation of the alignment framework prevents some of the most common problems in education, where leaders sometimes aren't sure where to start, or in our new age of educating, leaders need a trusted sounding board that allows them to be vulnerable and transparent, preventing loneliness at the top. The framework doesn't just help leaders, but also prevents teachers from burning out from too many initiatives and embracing teachers as they are the experts. Finally, the framework extends to the children, helping them get engaged in school and solving a nationwide problem. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water, succinctly creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in
the Systems Doctors
to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Take a look. People who work with the
Systems Doctors
describe them as an excellent and inspiring group of leaders. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website.
You're muted, Sheikah.
Okay. Thank you. It's Super Saturday, everyone. Welcome to the REALL Academy, brought to you by Create and Educate with your very own Systems Doctors, HERS. I'm Dr. Sheikah Houston.
Good morning, and I'm Dr. Tammy Taylor. Welcome, everybody.
Yes, welcome. So, if this is your first time tuning in to the REALL Academy, you may be thinking, well, who are the Systems Doctors?
And we are so glad that you asked, because we are best-selling authors, speakers who transformed our schools with report card movement of 2 and 3 levels in just a single year. We're award-winning leaders, STEAM School of Excellence, the Palmetto Silver Award for Academic Growth, Local Entrepreneurs Accelerator Program Award winners, Avid MC selection, and most recently, Avid Global Achievement nominee selection for the elementary and district director categories.
Most definitely. And we've done that as true collaborators. We have teamed up, we call each other trust mates in education. So we have done that through that lens. And so we create and educate so that you can thrive in multiple ways, one of which is the platform that you are viewing right now. Everything that we teach, that we discuss, that we provide insight on is centered around our framework. Create and Educate's 5 super strengths that creates 3 systems, and we also use our real systems formula. So Principal Hurt is our data guru that comes on right before us. We are your unpackers. We unpack everything so that you can get down into the weeds of understanding those true systems that needs to be in place. And Principal Kafele is definitely everything leadership and reflection. And Josh is our king collaborator. But we also offer leadership coaching, we offer professional development to schools, and we're offering customized SEL that can match your school mascot or your PBIS system. So, whether you're the Cyclones, the Bees, the Gators, we can customize the SEL program for you. It starts with an assessment for leaders, teachers, and students, and it gives your school your mascot version of what that personality type is. So it creates alignment for the entire school and self-awareness that keeps you rooted into your core beliefs of your school. And lastly, our resilience series, the children's book series that we have coming out. The first book is coming very soon. So we are very excited about that.
Yes, we are. And we want you to just keep in mind that each episode on Saturdays is a part of our live stream network, the Fantastic Four. And you just heard Shika talk about how the Fantastic Four customizes what it is you need from us on Saturday mornings. And again, at 10 a.m., we start out with Principal Sean Hurt, who is, as Shika said, the data guru and can speak all things data. And then we follow at 10:30 in the Real Academy with Shika and I. And then at 10:55, Principal Kafele comes on with the AP and new Principals Academy. And he is all things leadership, the leader's leader and mentor of us all. And then on Sunday, we have PGP podcast that finishes us out with Dr. Mari Moreno and Principal Josh Tovar at 5 p.m.
Most definitely. And there are 3 different pillars to our work. So we work with businesses, helping small businesses to market to schools. We work with schools, of course, but we also work with churches in bridging the generational gap. So if any of those things are things that you need help with, or you know someone, let them know that give them our website, contact us, and we will be in contact. So if you are a regular with us, you know that it is Real Fam shout out time. And before we get to the shout outs, I have some shout outs. Shout out to Great Falls Elementary School. They had a phenomenal Avid pep rally on yesterday. Dr. Taylor, Mr. Hampton, and the entire Avid site team did a great job kicking that off in their school yesterday. I was honored to be invited to hype the students up as the district director, but they are on the right path to Avid implementation. Did you want to shout out your staff, Tammy?
Absolutely. And they are the ones who deserve the shout out because and we started this week. So this is our first week back in, and it was an absolutely phenomenal experience. You would not have been able to tell that the children had only been in school for 4.5 days at that time. So kudos, Great Falls. You all are absolutely an outstanding school to lead, and I'm very humbled and grateful. And I want to shout out our friend Dana, who is on here and was there to support yesterday. And I want you to tell Michelle thank you too, Dana.
And that's what she said. Great GFE is the place to be, and it is. Shout out to MUSC Hospital and the boards in Chester. We had a great banquet in Charleston, South Carolina this past week. Shout out to Higher Definition Radio, one of our community platform partners that had me on last week for Morning Inspiration. If you missed it, go back and view it on my page. Shout out to PGP Podcast for having me on as the sub co host for Dr. Marty Moreno with Principal Josh Tovar. I enjoyed that. And we have two new doctors in the house. Dr. Joni Dubose, congratulations to you. She defended on yesterday. And Dr. Melissa Jones Chunu. So please clap them up,
Yeah.
shout them out in the comments. Congratulations. We got two new
Good.
doctors in the house.
Awesome ladies. We are very, very thankful. And again, just a quick shout out for my staff who made opening week the absolute best week of my life.
That is awesome when you can say that. So now our real fam shout outs. Shout out to David Bell from Benton Harbor, Michigan, Stacy L. Joy, Dana Trinae Williams, AP Patrick Lawrence, the GOAT Principal Kafele. Thank you for joining us. And as always, Melissa Jones Chunu, Chancellor Rashard Davis, the one and only Dot McKeever Jeter, Dr. Joe Griffin, Principal Sean Hurt, Kenna Rowland, Principal Josh Tovar, Dr. Roz Gaskins, Alicia Scott, thank you for joining us. September Devance Vance Daniels, Rasan Matthews from Athens, Georgia, thank you for joining us. And Jasmine Harris, thank you for joining us, Queen. My mom, Beverly Hall, thank you for joining us. The boss educator, Dr. Nelson, is in the house. Thank you for joining us. And Michelle Perkins Griffin, thank you for joining us. And shout out to our platform engineer who's getting these comments up for us backstage, Brandon Griffin. He's doing an excellent job. He is Michelle's real fam member, her son. So thank you for making that recommendation. So that brings us to our real comment of the week. Let me bring it up. We had two. One was from, and these are just comments from the last episode. The last episode was Cultivating Respect from Students. And this comment came from Stacy L. Joy. My classroom expectations are centered around respect, respect for self, respect for others, and respect for the classroom, and respect for the school. And this matches our framework completely. And Professor Law stated, students earn my respect as soon as they walk in. And we love that one because we just love that mindset. When students come in every day, it's like you're giving them a new slate. And that's how it should definitely be with students. So
and I love it because it's like, it's a privilege to be able to teach you.
Right, exactly. So today, episode 207, we are going to build on that and discuss cultivating respect for teachers from students. So we are still building on our systems of respect, and you know that respect opens the door to the other parts of our framework, because without respect, we can't really get to anything else. So the one thing we want to make sure as leaders that we're making sure our students know our expectation for respect for the teachers. So when I would talk to students on my town hall meetings, I would let them know, I definitely want you to represent yourself, and you do. You represent yourself when you're at school, you represent your family, and you represent the school. And my school at that time, we were the Cyclones. So in order to be a Cyclone, what we do not do is disrespect teachers or adults in the buildings. I would tell them, if I expect them to respect you, then I most definitely expect you to respect them. And I would also explain, because it has to be a conversation with children. They have to understand. Do we fail at this sometimes? Yes. Sometimes we fail. Sometimes I fail. And just like if you fail an assignment and we give you a do-over, you get to resubmit it. Sometimes we have to have do-overs with people. So if you do fall short, we you want to be extended grace, and sometimes you have to extend grace. But you have to correct yourself. And I have that same expectation for myself and the adults in the building.
Yes, and I think that grace is so super important in our lives. A friend of mine just this week reminded me that we have to be graceful because God extends us grace when we mess up. So we can't just put people in front of a firing squad if they offend. This is true to school too. We have to make sure that our children know that we are not going to have them exiled to the Isle of Extinction if they make a mistake. And they are going to make them. They're going to make mistakes because we all make mistakes. But what we want them to do is, I want my children to know that we are forgiving, and that extension of grace leads them to understanding that. And I shared this with them on yesterday when we were talking about what successful principals do. A successful principal has to be forgiven. So when mishaps come, no matter how firm the expectations are in place for the school, we have to be able to forgive whatever the offense was and keep on moving in the namesake of school success.
Most definitely. I agree with that, Tammy. And another way we can make sure that we're supporting our teachers by cultivating that respect from students is just modeling what that looks like. So at my school, we would take around the Woot Wagon. Every month, my office staff was responsible for coming up with the monthly themes. They set it up, and we would go around to the classes while the classes were in session. And one of my APs would make the noise, whoop, whoop. We're here with the Woot Wagon to celebrate the teachers, because you want your students to see that you respect your teachers, that you're celebrating them, and that you're modeling respect. I would also shout my teachers out on the town hall meetings to let them know what I appreciated about, respected and appreciated about the teacher. So modeling is definitely a way to do that.
Yeah, I think modeling is one of the most important things we can do. And we too do a Woot Woot Wagon, and we set up snacks and refreshments, continental breakfasts, whatever, in our teachers' lounges so that the teachers feel like they're appreciated. But one of the things that I do, and I do this every single day, twice a day, I make sure that I publicly thank my staff for their hard work and for being a part of the team. And I emphasize the fact that I can't do what I do without them. And I really hype up the fact that in order for things to run smoothly, I have to have them in the positions that they're in to do the things that they're doing that I expect. And then when I have to talk with a student who has come sideways at a teacher, I ask them, have you ever heard me yelling at a teacher? And of course, their answer is going to be no, ma'am. So I say to them, then I don't expect that you're going to do that either. And honestly, that works down to the littlest of the littles. They all know that if I'm the principal of the school and I am respectful of my staff and appreciative of my staff, and I want to treat them with respect and dignity, that I expect that that is going to be the culture that's cultivated in the school so that we're all operating on that same sheet of music.
I love that, Tammy. We would do something similar when I would tell the students and the staff, CMS, I see you. What do you see? Your answer should be greatness. And that greatness was not just the students, it was greatness for the staff, the students, because it took each and every one of us to institute that vision of 1.5 years of growth for every student. So I love that. That was also something that you all did every day because that's important for people to hear.
And I do it twice a day. I do it in the morning, and I thank them for the day before in the morning, and just go all out with how much I appreciate the fact that we were able to get done what we needed to get done yesterday. And then we go into today with let's make today a great day, the Great Falls Elementary way. At the end of the day, I come back and thank them for today so they can
Good.
hear that appreciation that
Hmm.
I have for the staff, that I want to make sure they understand. And I encourage teachers in the classroom to do the same thing, because that's the way you cultivate a culture of appreciation and respect within the building.
Most definitely. And when disrespect does take place with a teacher, one of the things that I would always make sure that our leadership team did is make sure that we talk that through with a student. It has to be discussed. What could you have said differently than what happened? Like, why did this transpire? We got to unpack it. And I had a colleague at the high school level that would tell the students when they got, look, we ain't finna sit around the table and talk like Houston did with y'all at the middle school. But I think that's helpful in that when an offense does take place, before, especially when it's disrespect, before I'm going to send a child back to a teacher's class because that, you done committed treason to me in my book. You done disrespected the teacher in front of everybody. So we got to correct that before you go back in there. So before you can correct something, you got to understand why it transpired, how you going to make sure it ain't going to happen again. And we're going to practice what you need to say differently so this doesn't happen again. And I would go back to the class with the children, and we would practice before they got there. What you going to say to correct this? Sometimes I would have to give them a script and some sentence frames, but we're going to get this right before I send you back in there, because when you commit an offense, when you commit an offense, you have to teach children how to reconcile things. And sometimes we miss that in administration. They put it in my hands now. I took care of it. I didn't suspended them. I sent them to ISS, and then it's over with. But it's not. It wasn't reconciled. So you have to make sure that some type of reconciliation takes place before you send a child back to the class when it's disrespect, especially when it's egregious.
And that's the thing, like the whole situation is because I mean I totally agree, but the whole situation becomes a ball of fire if it isn't handled, and it isn't handled timely and appropriately. So to me, when an offense is so egregious that it makes it to me, now, and if it's egregious enough to get to me, especially for disrespect, you're not going back to class, because what you can't do is disturb my teacher's peace. That's
Hmm.
not going to happen. You're
Right.
sentenced to the rest of the day with me. And throughout the day, I make the whole big deal of how I can't have anybody disrespecting my teachers for doing what I'm expecting them to do in the building. I share this with parents too, by the way. Like when I have parents who come in and want to, as I said before, Principal Herb go sideways, I make sure they understand. Listen, we cannot. You can't get upset with a teacher for doing what I'm expecting them to do in the classroom. I make sure that
Exactly.
students understand. I need for you to make sure you understand this can't happen here. But
Hmm.
at some point, because what you were talking about before, Sheikah kind of goes back to the fact that it's a part of that whole restorative process. And what
Exactly.
I try to do is at some point before the day ends, I get the teacher and the student together so that we can have some conversation. And I don't do this before the teacher's ready because
Exactly.
that creates a whole other set of issues. Because now I have a problem with you, because what you can't do is come in here and disrespect my children either. So
Right.
when they're ready to come together, we come together and we kind of talk through like what happened here and why did this happen and why this cannot happen again. Because to me, my mediation in this situation repairs the breach, and that relationship can be mended. And then at the end of all that, I remind them that tomorrow is a new day. And
Mhm.
with each new day comes new mercies. So
Right.
what happened yesterday is at this point behind us.
And I want to answer the question. It says, do you do this immediately? There's always so much going on. It depends. Most of the time, no. Most of the time, and I'm thinking about these egregious disrespectful situations. Most of the time, everybody need a cool off period. You know, if you've disrespected a teacher to the point where I know I would be very upset, first I'm going to go to the teacher and explain what I'm coming to do. This is what I was thinking, but I want to make sure that we repair this so that this does not happen again. It would usually be the next day. I would try to talk to the teacher after school, before school, or during their planning period, to discuss how I was going to bring the child back in and see if we could get something reconciled between the two of them. But I did want to communicate to the teacher before that happened to make sure that I had all of the information.
And for me, I mean, I'm in an elementary school, so again, if an offense is so um awful that it makes it to me, because typically, at least here, teachers are able to redirect children around the expectations to what is expected, and respect is one of the things that is required. So
Hmm.
if a teacher can bring them back, that it may never even come to me. I might not even know anything ever happened. But if something happens that makes it to me, then I definitely am dealing with the child at that moment, because many times what I've discovered is it's an underlying situation that has caused this. Like, typically we don't have just, as Sheikah said, egregious disrespect occurring in the building. But sometimes, a child had a really bad night, and it just really needs to be that the kid is not there anymore for a little bit, so everybody can reframe and get themselves back in a mindset to receive from each other.
Right. And the child is dealt with in that moment at my school. It's just that I wouldn't try to take them back to the class in that very same moment. We're going to talk through it today and we're going to try to get you back possibly tomorrow. May not be tomorrow.
Might not be.
Might be in ISS tomorrow, and then we'll try, the next day. It just really depended on the offense and what I was assigning as a consequence for that offense. But no matter what it was, reconciliation for
Has to
disrespect
happen.
had to be a part of the
Yeah,
process.
and I'm gonna tell you something, because we're about to have to get off. But what I've discovered is children get that they need that time, and what they don't like though is having to be with me, because like once they've cooled off, they're ready to get on back down there and resume the day. And I'm saying, oh,
Mhm.
no, I'm sorry, you've kind of talked yourself out of being able to get back, and they're like, oh, we want to go back, because they don't want to be in there with me listening to me all day talk about, like, I really thought we had established a system here. I thought you knew what I expected. And they are just over that. Like, oh, can I please go back to class? I don't know when I'm gonna get you back down there, buddy. But we'll get you there when I feel like you are able to respect my teachers the way that I do.
Most definitely. Well, thank you all for tuning in. We hope you have a great rest of your Saturday. Tune in to Principal Kafele next and Principal Josh Tovar and Dr. Moreno on Sunday. Right back here on Saturday, starting at 10 o'clock with Principal Sean Hurt and yours truly, Create and Educate at 10:30. Thank you, everyone.